Fresh ragu meat. I mean, I hope not. I hope you don't, you know.
This is the Escape Podcast for Star Wars The Old Republic. This week, we continue our adventures on the planet that's too hot to handle and too cold to hold. We'll also break down this 5.8 business. This broadcast astromech is EPC 235. And playing alongside me is Seema. Hi, Seema. How's it going?
Hey, Max. It is actually going, let's say, interesting. It's going interestingly. But first, I'll say this week for Mandatory Fun Night, we went and we did Karaga's Palace, which was a lot of fun. And it was one of those things where we finished up the last boss at I want to say 11 o'clock or 11:03 or something like that. So it was timed very precisely, but it was a lot of fun. That was on the imp side, and we had 16 people. And then tonight we just finished our own raid team, Lords of Light, LOL, and we did what we always do, which is we went into Gods from the Machine. We decided instead of doing Isaacs tonight that we would wipe repeatedly on Skyva instead. So we had that going for us.
Right, because we decided to change the strat, which was obviously a terrible idea. But
right, you're right. We gave up on our plan of the last 2 weeks of one-shotting her and decided that we would just wipe on her. But we did get to Isaacs and do get through the first phase But basically, it was just a look-see, because then we had to close our operations doors and come get ready for the podcast.
Yep.
But yes, it has been a fun week, and we're going to talk about that in more detail. And by fun, I mean like fun with air quotes around it.
As you said, it's interesting. There's Well, I'll explain it. This might be apocryphal, but what I understood it to be was like an ancient Chinese saying that is, may you live in interesting times.
Interesting times, which is really a curse.
Which is a curse, which means, like World War II was interesting times. So are we living in interesting times? I don't know. We'll talk more about it when we go through all of our questions about what's up with 5.8 later in the podcast. I did have fun this week. I still had fun. I had fun with playing with 5.8. I had fun waving hi to Isaacs with 2 groups. So I brought my Sork in. I PvE outfitted my Sork. There was one of our teams on Wednesday was missing someone and was about a third or halfway through Gods of the Machine, and still doing it with 7 people. So I came in late. I jumped in there and did a little bit, and that group too got through and up to a pull or 2 on Isaacs, enough to wave hi and say hi. Isaacs is super awesome. I really like the model. He's a really cool robot. He's giant. He's really interesting design. I think that looks really cool. The first 2 phases of the fight look interesting enough to me. They are fun at this point, but maybe we'll see where it goes. I've not seen past phase 2 at this point. I also, because I was in work stuff for a couple days. I was offline pretty much out of game for Tuesday and Wednesday. So it wasn't until Thursday that I got in and checked in on Conquest, and it wasn't until Thursday that I started reading Reddit and reading the forums and seeing everything that was going on, which we will get to. But I then jumped in and I started my own experimenting and playthrough and gathering of conquest points, and started coming to terms with the new design. So I did a bunch of conquest. I will hit my personal target on my mercenary without much problem at all, and that's just 2 nights so far. I'll just do a couple dailies once a day from here on for the next 2 days, and I'll hit it. So that's a piece of it that I was able to check out and try and get a feel for in real time. And also in pulling my Sork in to Gods of the Machine, I had been holding off on popping a command boost that I had. Well, now I've got like a stack of 4 of them, but I had been holding off on also then and saving up all the command XP packs that drop off of bosses, and I had probably about 50 of them saved up.
Oh my gosh.
That I blew all on my Sork as soon as I popped that boost, and then went in and did some fighting in Gods of the Machine, and probably got 60 or 70 CXP levels. So he's well over 200 now for that Sork, which is pretty cool. That if I bother to keep doing that Sork will be my third or fourth character at CXP 300, but only my second class of the 4, because my first 2 are my Vanguard and my Mercenary, and obviously they're the same. They count as the same base class, which was
Yes,
annoying.
I did exactly the same thing because I have a Merc on one side and Commando on the other. And so I've been sending, oddly enough, my command packs to my Sork.
Well,
But she's not a 200.
oh.
She's more like 192 or something.
Oh, well, getting close. So that's what I've been doing, and I think other stuff has been going on, apparently.
Now, an Imperial News Network report.
So to kick it off, yes, 5.8 has arrived. It was a week late. We did get it. 5.8 brought us the last boss and the completion of the Gods of the Machine operation. That is Isaac's. He's got a cool cutscene. He's a giant robot. You get to shoot him a little bit, and he swipes at you and pounds down on your head and crushes you. The most important, most important, one of the coolest things I like about Isaac's so far, because we're not even very far through the fight, is the whole mechanic of the trash leading up to Isaac's, between Skyva and Isaac's. It's an interesting little twist on a puzzle that I hadn't seen before, where you need to line up the beams, you line up the deflection droids, and they hit the beam receiver node and open the shield to get to the next part. You do it with 2 of them to start. You do it with a few more in the next part. A quick tip for anybody doing that: when you're lining up the deflection droids, don't aggro any of them. You'll still be in combat, but they will not be shooting anybody. You can take your time and not have to be healing anybody if you position all the deflection droids all the way up the ramp, all the way exactly how you want them, and then when you're ready to start to turn them all on, then aggro, and everyone shifts over. They aggro the one they need to and stand by the other one they need to. But that was a fun little additional trick that I noticed after doing it a couple times.
It's a little bit of a shout back to the maze puzzle that was in Dread Fortress before Draxus, because it requires, back when it used to be a puzzle, it requires collaboration to get it achieved. And the puzzle leading up to Skyva and the puzzle leading up to Isaac's are the same thing. You have to like behave as a unit and a group, and this person does that and that person does this. So that is interesting, which is kind of what raiding is all about. And that's what you want, is everyone has a role to play, and when everyone does it, it works.
Yeah,
like a charm.
You're right. And now that I think about it, if there's going to be trash, that's really the best kind of trash lead up before a boss, is do a thing. And maybe you have to kill a couple things to be part of it, but it's not like we didn't have to like kill 100 droids. What are all the
in Eternity Vault
droids?
Oh,
or
right,
that
right,
too,
right.
or whatever, where you're just like killing pack after pack after pack, the same old stuff. And all bunches of MMOs have had this forever. Okay, we got to kill 50 packs of dogs to get to the boss. Now, we did kill a bunch of robots, but it was because we had to get the tethers, and then we collected the tethers, and then because the real point of it was, we have a thing to do. We're going to kill some stuff along the way, and it's not just killing trash because we need to slow you down before you get to the boss.
And as you get better and better at doing that puzzle, it actually shrinks down in time that it takes too.
Right.
So there's that.
In fact, I think that is going to get very quick. Much quicker even than the Skyva Whirlpool room, which is still a really cool room, but is much less forgiving of a puzzle, because it's not hard for 1 second glitch or 1 second of lag, and you get sniper shot out from under that shield.
Yeah.
So that is something that happened. The other thing that obviously happened was the Conquest update. So let me here. I'll open it on my screen. Conquest is now, the user interface has been rearranged. That was a part of it. It's been broken into 2 tabs for the Conquest tabs, one for your personal targets, one for the guild invasions. Within the personal targets, they've been rearranged and rebalanced slightly. So the kinds of things that are infinitely repeatable versus daily repeatable versus not repeatable, and the numbers and amounts of points you get for each of them in some ways is drastically different, and we'll go into a little bit of that. So we'll go through the highlights here in the news. We'll go through the detail and maybe some of the discussion points while we play a little bit on Hoth. But that's a thing that they did. It's debatable where that balance has left things, but this you can sort of see here what's going on. You go to the Guild Invasion tab. The Guild Invasion tab now is more focused on 3 types, 3 sizes of planets, and for your guild to do what it needs to do to win, it's no longer focused on who's top 10 on the board, right? Number 1 winner of the planet still gets achievements and rewards for doing that, and in addition to just being cool because you won the planet. But the way your guild achieves their guild target is there's a cumulative number. If you're going after the largest planet, it's going to be a large number. If you're going after a small planet, it's going to be a smaller number. And then the rewards that you get are commensurate with it being small, medium, and large. Again, debatable about are they small enough, medium enough, and large enough? And are the point targets small enough or large enough? That's all for part of the discussion and leads into some of the dev comments that we've already heard. So bunch of feedback, including some rage, and already we've gotten a couple posts about what they've heard from us. Thank you for your feedback. We have heard. And what have we heard, Seema?
Well, you mean like what have we heard that people didn't like?
So
or what that feedback?
Yes. So yeah. So what
Okay, so
what showed up in the dev tracker, I guess. What's next in our notes for the news?
One of the things that caught people flat-footed was the change to how crafting is working. Not even addressing repeatable versus non-repeatable, but the fact that it now takes all the mats except for grade level 1 to make 1.
2 through 7 has been added on. That I found that. Yeah, that struck me as a dramatic
except
change.
for biochem. Biochem is still the way it was.
And it's separate? And I didn't even look.
Yeah, it's separate. There's still 6 different really listings of it. And
that's probably a mistake.
I forget what the biochem. Yes, it's probably a mistake.
Okay.
So that actually would have gone a long way with me anyway if they would have said, we're doing this because we're trying to spread out traffic. Right now, everybody, if they're going to farm mats, they go to Yavin 4, so now we want them to go to all the planets. Or we wanted to make it, we're trying to drive traffic this way, or we wanted to, make the lower level mats more relevant or something, instead of just like, boink, here it is.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, like one guildie commented to me, like, when I went to bed last night, I could have made like hundreds of war supplies. When I woke up this morning, 0. So that's a big change to just spring on us. And that's kind of the theme of this thing, is a big change to spring on us. We knew that there was going to be a change to Conquest, and we knew that things were getting revamped. And that's about all we knew, really. So also people are commenting that they find the points that are given for different activities are too low. And like you said, the rewards are possibly too low. But the dev, like you said, they did comment back and said, oh, yeah, okay, well, we're going to change it then.
Right.
So they're going to lower the number of points we have to get from 20,000 down to 10,000, which is a huge change right there. That's a huge change. But like we've commented before, BioWare doesn't ever tweak. They just take out the hammer. They're also going to, they were going to keep the whole point of the PvP participation. It wasn't going to go away. It was just going to be not in every week, but they've changed that to be in every week, PvP and GSF both. And it was actually a mistake / bug that flashpoints weren't included this week, so flashpoints will turn up again. So those are some of the main complaints that people had: no flashpoints, no participation points, and crafting. So.
Right. And as the chat room says, it's 20. It's down to 15 from 20, but still.
I thought they said 10K. 15K is actually more of a tweak.
Yeah, but
you're right.
But still, in general. So there's this long post which goes through even more of these points that Eric put up today, which was, "Hey, we've heard you." One of the challenges that we'll talk more about that is making this interesting is right here under your feedback. We never saw this revamp as being a perfect change out of the gates, but it was a first step for us in crafting an improved conquest system. So we didn't really think this was going to work, but we decided to throw it out there because that's always a good idea.
Incredible.
So I don't think they really mean that. I think, for one, there's definitely some bugs, and bugs I can forgive bugs. Those happen. There seem to be a little bit more bugs than I would really want to see in this kind of release. I know they've got problems with mirroring the PTS to production, and they don't really mirror. I would still hope they had some sort of mirrored testing environment where they could apply the patch and then just go in and check, is this right? Is this going to work? And look at biochem and notice that biochem doesn't have, didn't happen or whatever. But maybe they don't. I don't know. So there's a lot of bugs. But outside of the bugs, here's where okay, I'll save it. Outside of the bugs, there's some other changes, and they listed how they're feeling, what they've heard from us, and how they're responding. So fine. I'll reserve my opinions for later. So you can look in the dev tracker. There's a couple posts. That's one is the long post, which talks about the feedback that they heard. And then there's a couple follow-up posts, and maybe there'll be even more as the week goes on, which talk about additional clarifications to that. So they do plan on making changes.
Kudos to the people who posted in that thread with their incredibly valuable feedback, their experience, where they think the changes helped and didn't help, and just gave data that they were experiencing. And I think just we need that so much in our community, and thank you to all the people who did that.
Mm-hmm. There was some really well thought out, detailed posts. I mean, there was a little bit of raging also, but which in some ways is justified. But
justified, it may be justified, but it's still not useful.
Right. But there were some really well thought out, two types of posts. Well thought out summaries of feedback, and the well thought out posts that were saying, okay, I see what you're trying to do here. This is what I expect your direction is. Is that the case? And then here's how I feel that the impact is to me and my guild. That I think is really valuable as well. So we'll talk a little bit more about that and discussions we've had with some of our guildies as we play on Hoth as well. So that's the big news, and we can look forward in about a month to 5.9. There will probably be updates in between. That's what it sounded like from some of the news. Some of this might not be updated until 5.9, which is set for May 1st at this point, May Day, and we will see where things land. But I happy to have a change. We'll see where it goes. In guild and community news, we have a guild. It's called Alea Iacta Est, and we have it's a large gaming community. We have an awesome community of Star Wars podcasters and influencers. Lots of good work going on there as well. I don't have anything huge on my bullet list, but if you have stuff that I should be shouting out to, or community events that are coming up, or player run events, I would love to hear about those things. So send those in, and I will read out some of that kind of stuff on the show. What do we have for our guild and our guild activities, though, Seema? Where are we at?
Next week's MFN on March 27th will be on the imp side, I'm saying, because didn't we do pub last week?
Yes,
yeah.
I believe we did.
Yes, we did. And imp this week, so imp next week.
Excellent. And as that moves forward, heads up for Alea Iacta Est, we may need to or be interested in coordinating what we do in our conquest with what we're doing with MFN. It's going to be more difficult for us to potentially be getting multiple characters with the new system to their personal targets, and it may be beneficial to have the whole group working together on some of the larger number targets. So we may say, hey everybody, this week's going to be an Imperial week, like next week is, and we're going to go after the Imperial Guild, and you're going to do the big targets, the one-time things on your Imperial character. And then the week after, 2 weeks after that is another Republic week. We may be doing a Republic characters, so expect that you're going to get the big ones on your Republic characters. So keep an eye out for that, and we'll see how this whole conquest changes some of the side fun things we do on our mandatory fun nights. Certainly, shout out to the chat room. A couple comments and input from the chat room has already been useful in there. B. Kavanaugh did mention keep an eye out. I don't think any of them are official yet, but I think a couple players are setting up pretty interesting contests for first kills for Isaacs, or kill Isaacs and you'll have and send a screenshot. There is also, within this time period, if you're killing Isaacs on veteran mode, there's extra rewards from BioWare. Remember, that's currently in progress. All of those kinds of community events, though, and as those start to evolve, make sure I'm aware, and I'll try to get them listed. But save your screenshots of Isaac's kills if you do manage to get Isaac's killed, because I expect that there may be one or even multiple of those, hey, kill Isaac, send us the screenshots, and we'll put you in a drawing for a million credits types of things coming up. All right. Brunmark, it's still on you to introduce us to our segment. Thank you, buddy. Is he Canadian? Why would I call him buddy? So we are on Hoth. Our adventure here on Hoth, we unfortunately do not get to visit with Brunmark as a Sork. That's in the mercenary? No. Who gets this? Who gets Brunmark? That's a mercenary thing.
The warrior.
Warrior?
Oh, I don't know.
Why do I not?
Brunmark.
Is it so? Chat room. Who gets Brunmark as a companion? Oh, and has Brunmark come back yet? I don't think so. I have not seen Brunmark come back yet. Have we? No, he did. Brunmark is back. Yeah, Brunmark is for the warrior, and Brunmark did come back, I'm pretty sure, as an Alliance alert, and I'm pretty sure you had to like kill. You had to sort of go dark. That's what I remember. You needed to be a little bit dark side if you wanted Brunmark to join you, because he wanted you to kill some things and kill some innocents, basically, to prove you were dark enough for him to join you. The companion we do get to play with, and we've been talking to and chatting with and chasing down some relics with here on Hoth, is Talos Strelic. And Talos is telling me, what's up, Talos? Talos says, speak to Talos Strelic. Where? First I gotta find Seema. And then I gotta go up there. I'm gonna summon you, Seema.
Oh, thanks, because I can see you on the map, and I'm like, how do I get there?
Summon group via guild flagship. Did you get that?
Here I am.
Hello. Oh, what kind of mount are you riding there? That's one of the. Is that one of the Cantina event code mounts?
Yeah, Prinawe aggregate.
Cool. Cool, cool. And I am on my Zamboni. And we need to go, looks like north. There we go. Okay, so here we are trekking across Hoth, and now I'll kick it off. So what do I think about the changes? Add a boss to Gods of the Machine. Great. Wish it had come sooner, but it's really cool. I like it. I'm going to have a lot of fun with that in the coming weeks. It's going to take us a while to get that down. We did mention again today, Seema brought up one of the big things that's been on all of our lists for a long time is wish we could extend the lockout because it takes a long time to get through Skyva and all the rest of them. And if we're only going to be doing ops for an hour and 45 minutes or whatever by the time it's all the time we have, it's not a lot of time for our casual group to get many tries in on Isaacs.
At 10 minutes a week, it might be a while before we kill Isaacs.
Right, exactly. So that's one thing. On the conquest, so let's break it down. On its face, I saw the changes. I recognized that there was some issues. I recognized that it was going to be different, but I at least felt, and I spent time on Thursday, on Wednesday night, and into early Thursday, going through my interpretation of what their vision was and what they were trying to achieve, and the things like, okay, there's no more participation conquest points for PvP, only for wins. And in my head, I went, okay, that's interesting. That's going to be rough. I can't grind out a bunch of PvP very easily to get my conquest target, and the points are really low. But I know PvPers have been asking for quite a while for this whole participation thing has had unintended consequences and negative effects on PvP. Okay, so I rationalized a whole bunch of things, and I even went back and forth and was talking to some of the other players about what I thought and how I was rationalizing and coming to terms with this is the strategy. And I know a lot of other people were raging, and I was ready to sort of talk them down and say, no, I think this is where they're going, and I think this is what it's going to be, and we can talk through each of the points individually, but that's where I started. Then this post comes out this afternoon that says, okay, well, we heard your feedback, and we're going to roll a bunch of that stuff back. And what that did in my head then was I had now rationalized that they had some genius plan, and they were tweaking the way things were going to go, and and it's going to be tough, and it's going to be a bitter pill to swallow in the beginning, but this is the vision, and the mission is where it's going to go. And then they rolled it back. And either that tells me they didn't have a mission and vision, and were just trying some things, and now they realize they broke it too far. Or they did have a mission and vision, and now are, because of the uproar in the forums, are too afraid to implement that bold vision. Or I don't know, or they just made mistakes, and they tried to implement the vision and mission and didn't think hard about it enough the first time they went through. And that made me rage. That got me up.
Right. I mean, if you just look at the PvP participation thing, it's a brilliant microcosm of the whole thing, because here we are looking at that going, okay, well, they're answering the concerns of PvP players to not have a bunch of PvE players each week coming in and just messing up their game so they can get their conquest done.
Right.
But no, apparently that wasn't why they were doing it. We don't know why they were doing it, because they just oh, no, okay, well, we'll roll that back.
Or it was, and they chickened out. Yeah. So I was definitely not. I was on the anti-rage side before that update post. So I think I'm going to be the opposite of what most of the community is, because I see a lot of posts in there going, oh, look, they listened to us. They're, they're rolling some of this stuff back. I'm glad at least they're listening to the feedback, and and I know it didn't come out right the first time, but thank you, BioWare. I didn't read too much into it, but I'm going the opposite direction, which is no, you ruined it. What did you do? and then if this was even a possibility, then why didn't you take the time to think through the unintended consequences? And I know it's harder than that, and I'm not trying to say people didn't do their job, but maybe somebody didn't do their job of of mentally thinking through what the intended consequences are and then what the unintended consequences are. And if I make this number really small, that's going to hurt somebody. That person's going to get on the forums and complain. What is my response going to be? And if your response is going to be to undo it, then don't do it in the first place, because that's going to happen. You make any change and someone's going to complain. So you need to have your response thought out ahead of time. You could cure cancer. You could cure brain cancer. Update 5.9 does nothing else except curing brain cancer. You will get people on the forums complaining because it does not cure lung cancer. That doesn't mean your bold vision of curing brain cancer is bad and you shouldn't cure brain cancer. Okay. How about you, Seema?
I don't know what to say. I do feel like we're in danger of investing a lot of time and effort into this world that's just completely rudderless.
and that's a harsh way to put it, but and I deep down I don't think it's that, but then set the vision, explain the vision, and make a plan and see it through. That's what Brian Boitano would do.
If there is a vision, I can't believe that there's a vision. Because if there's a vision, why is it so easy in one day to say, okay, we'll do it your way after all, no problem.
Right. Yeah. And then,
I mean, if they made that change because they were trying to accomplish something, they wouldn't just say, okay, we'll change it back.
Yeah.
I think they, somebody just said, this will be cool. Let's spread it out. Okay. Oh, wait. No, that didn't work the way we thought.
I don't think I'm in the right place here on Hoth.
And I mean, this UI, it's sexy and everything, but when I look at it, I cannot find what I need to find.
Right.
Again, there's no way of doing a search. Unless I know what the name of something is, I, again, have to scroll through and look at it with my eyeballs to try and find the thing I'm looking for. Why?
And in that update post is, oh yeah, I guess I realize the gold triangles should be blue and the blue triangles should be gold, and we didn't follow our standards guide. And that got through user experience testing. Okay. Anyway.
I don't know.
All right, let's go in here and say hi to Talos. Find out where we're supposed to go next, and then I have one other mini rant to go off on communication. I suppose you would chime in on that too, Seema. All right.
I met the ghost,
cutscene,
and he needs me to get inside an ancient temple.
Then it's true. My peers in the service laughed when I said it was on Hoth, but now, yes, it's the only thing that makes sense. Your ghost said he was a follower of Ludo Kresh, and that Naga Sadow's assassins killed him. Sith, do you realize what you've done?
No, Talos, tell me what I've done. He's awesome. Okay, this is making me feel so much better.
I like his passion.
You'll have to explain
What have I
it.
done exactly?
This must be the greatest discovery since my mentor, Orsilio Gan, unearthed the wing of Naga Sadow's own fighter on Yavin 4. We're talking about the fabled Sadoween, Naga Sadow's personal order of assassins, myth made real. Don't worry,
Sweet.
I'll get you inside. I've been circumventing the security of ancient tombs since I was old enough to hold a data spike in a pair of pliers.
Awesome.
Glad to hear it.
Let me just gather up my equipment here. All right, let's go.
Tell us you the man.
Let's go.
He's also he's a tomb hacker. That is pretty cool.
He is.
He's like a tomb raider, but he's a tomb cracker. Cool. Okay. So now where do we gotta go? I think we gotta go. Okay, it's a cave on the other side of. Is it on the other side? Yeah, it's just on the other side. I think we gotta venture off in this direction. So while we're driving, rant number 2. I still believe that there was some sort of vision or some sort of positioning. And here's another place where, and this is less of a rant, but they dig themselves into this hole all the time, which is communication.
Every time. Every single time.
Communicate. You got to, if you're going to set a vision, set that vision. They had one post that kind of explained it, but I think you need like 3 or 4 or 5. You need to take people on a journey. And that journey then, I think we got to go down and around, south and around. And that journey then says, okay, here's step 1, week 1. Here's the vision. Here's where this is going to go. We're restructuring conquest, and these are the first principles. Step 2. All right, everyone. There's going to be some tough stuff. Your cheese is going to move. Be ready for that, and it's going to move primarily in these ways. And we'll, with crafting and with PvP and with GSF and what's repeatable and what's not. That stuff's going to change, but here's why, and we'll give you some more details. And then step 3, week 3. All right, we're revealing more. You're barely going to get any points for grinding out PvP because on a non-PvP week, because we want Gree weeks to be Gree and we want PvP weeks to be PvP, and that's how this. So yeah, you communicate. Take everyone on a journey and bring everyone along.
But even above that, it's like, why do you want Gree weeks to be Gree and PvP weeks to be PvP?
Right.
Because I don't think any players asked for that, so I have to think that there's a goal that you're trying to work toward by doing it that way.
Right, and each time you explain it, you connect it back to your master plan and your master vision for more fun and where it's going to get us. Yeah.
Because right now what you've got is players just going, well, you just don't like alts.
Right.
And that's probably not the vision.
Yeah, some people are saying, you don't like alts. Some people are saying you hate PvP. Some people are saying you had no vision. You just made random changes and obviously made a mistake. And it's probably not those things. So then what is it?
In a vacuum, which is what you create with no communication, it is human nature to fill it in with your worst fear.
Yes.
And that's what they're allowing again and again and again by not communicating better.
Okay.
Nobody's saying, or I'm not saying, and Max is not saying, that we need to give you our permission to do what you're planning to do. It's not that.
No. In fact,
we're not saying that you need our feedback in order to implement. No, we're just saying we could be your allies in the process of change instead of your angsty teenage daughter.
Yeah, exactly. And in fact, if you've got that solid vision and you paint the picture and you make the stepping stones, the communication plan should not be, hey, let's throw out this wild ass idea, and if the players like it, we'll do it, and if they don't, we won't. In fact, that would be terrible, and they don't do that, and I don't want that. I know some players even sort of ask that. Well, if they just explained what they were going to do, we could tell them what parts were bad, and then they could only do the good parts. That's not that's designed by committee.
Right, that wouldn't work either.
You will get a terrible product. My analogy that I used earlier was, Henry Ford says, "Hey guys, here's a cool idea," and everyone says, "Oh, that's terrible. This clunky metal thing that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Just make horses faster because we love, gathering the hay during the week anyway." That's where you'll end up. And so I don't want that. I don't think that's a good idea. But
No, I want the game designers to design the game.
yeah, yeah, because they have a job and they've done such cool things. But so if you've got the vision, which you probably did, test amongst yourselves, test that vision, determine what the unintended consequences are, be ready to answer the objections, and then take me on the journey. Take me along, take me on that journey. I'm happy to be drug along and give me that verbal teddy bear that prevents me from, as Zima said, filling in the blanks with my worst fears. Because
Right.
I think that the design team is filled with a bunch of penguins with giant pairs of scissors, which is my worst fear. So I don't know
That is pretty horrifying.
giant penguins with scissors. It's 100.
Yeah, and I guess my biggest fear
duck-sized
is that
horses.
really nobody's at the helm, and that's what I'm expressing.
Right. Which is probably not. But then, yeah, where's my hold my hand through this. Take me on a journey. Tell me a story. Keith, tell me a story about how these conquest changes are just going to make everything wonderful in the future. And, unveil each of the bitter pills we need to swallow, but tell me how, it's going to cure my fever. Because I got a
Right.
fever, and the only prescription is more comms,
Is
more
more
communication.
More communication. Oh, Max.
But
But yeah, I mean, I spent a day, talking with people, listening to people this is before, a lot of stuff, but the big thing that people got hit with right away or noticed right away was the crafting change. And all of that
Like it hurt.
could have been completely sidestepped by, like you say, 3 emails
yes.
that said, and I don't care if they tell us exactly what they're doing or not, but if it's that we want to spread the farming out so that not everybody's crowded up on Yap Explorer,
Yeah. Maybe
or
it was,
whatever.
I mean,
the
or it's complicated right now, and crafting's. I mean, there are reasons. Sorry, we ran into these trash mobs surprised us. These ancient Sith assassin droids surprised us in this tunnel. Interrupted
Right.
Sema.
They dropped out of the ceiling.
Stop it, you jerks! All right, let's kill some more assassin droids here, because they're going to be interrupting us. So yeah, this was going to be I didn't mean for this podcast to be so ranty, but sometimes that's fun.
Oh, I did.
But going into this, before that update today, I know you were a little bit ranty, especially about the communication plan, which is completely justified. But I was not. In fact, I was going to go the other way. My whole plan for talking through this before that, that update email, more traps, was going to be, hey, all of the ranting here in the forums, it's all overblown. I mean, here's what I was going to explain, what I thought was going on in terms of the vision. And yes, they could have communicated it better, but this is where I was going to paint that picture of the wonderful future that we were all going to be ending up as. But now I can't.
No, my problem was always the communication, and now I feel even worse about it.
Yeah.
That looked like it hurt.
Keith, Eric, why do you make Sema cry?
I was crying, man.
You're supposed to
And I keep
bottle up
going
your
back
rage
to
and
Ben Irving saying that, they don't like to tell too much because then people get upset. And I'm like, honestly, if that's the mentality, you just gotta grow up or something.
like they're going to get any less upset when it's already in the game and their daily play
Yeah.
is now interrupted? No. No. Paint the picture, take them on the journey.
Simple pulley job.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Talos is hacking here. He's
Give
hacking
me
the
a
tomb.
moment.
Tomb hacker. Oh, there he goes. But more surprise droids. Nothing better than surprise droids. Say, you were saying? Yeah, but
I like their Tatooine droids.
happy Tatooine.
Haha.
So the chat room says, yeah, you know, like how many people were actually... Oh, well, okay, so there's a good point. So R3DN4 is saying, you know, and it's somewhat of a fair point. Wasn't it fine to blow up Conquest? Because how many people were even getting anything really out of Conquest anymore these days?
Right. Right. That is a good question.
Maybe that's true a little bit. However, if you look at the Conquest boards, there are guilds that every week were putting up millions and millions of points. And in order to do that, some people were playing very, very hard. Every board was filled with people putting up points, and every winner of every planet was millions and millions. So there was some segment of the population that this was their game. And
Right.
for, you know, we've got a little bit of a benefit. We have a guildie who's also in a hardcore Conquest guild. And he's been able to give us a little bit of an inside view of, here's the deal. We've this other guild, this is what they do. This is how they play. This is, in fact, all they play. Yes, they do operations, but they only do operations in order to get Conquest points. They have player content. They have challenges for themselves, and they have prizes for the top, you know, the top contributors to the guild that week, and they set goals for what planet they're going to go after, and they prepare for weeks for the crafting weeks. They prepare weeks ahead of time, and they go on gathering runs and all of this. That's what they do. So there is a significant population of players out there with all those guilds that are putting up points on the boards every week where it makes a difference. Now, us, you know, our guild, we would jump in every once in a while. So it's probably not impacting us all that much, but a little bit. And it's good to know what those impacts will be. And it's good to have the picture painted about why this is going to be better. And even without these updates that we saw in the forum posts, I had come to the conclusion that this would be better. Already, I was seeing this as being better. I think that the point target was too high for small guild, but the personal target stuff, I almost felt it was like getting off a wild horse, in that you really would have to be focusing on one character and only one character, and that would be okay. And no one was going to bother to, and it was designed to not be grinding, you know, a million stacks of crafting materials, or not be grinding PvP for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in order to hit your target. You were going to have these big chunks of points, do some group stuff, hit a personal target, and that was going to be the way you were going to play. So I sort of rationalized it out. You know, obviously it wasn't perfect, because it's hard for us, for even a small guild, to hit a guild target if everyone can only do one character, and you can't have heroes that like carry the guild, which we've had in the past. But I rationalized it out. But I do get that there are other guilds and other players out there that this was their game, and you got to account for that. All right, let's take a walk in
And
here.
I gotta say, we still don't know why.
Right.
Like, in their posts, they say their goals and objectives, but they don't really. They say crafting was contributing too much to the overall conquest. Why is that too much? What goal are they trying to achieve by making it so that crafting counts a lot less? Is it that more people can be successful, or fewer people can be successful? I don't know.
Right. And explain it. And if you explain it and there's rationale, then maybe it was a good idea. But hopefully you weren't pulling two different levers to solve the same problem, which was crafting is too much of an influence, so it's keeping guilds, you know, small guilds, from being able to compete with the big guilds. So I'm going to pull that crafting lever. But also, oh, planet staying in the top 10. We're going to make targets for small, medium, and large, so small guilds will be able to compete. I pulled another lever, a separate lever, to solve the same problem. Hopefully that's not what went on, because if that's what went on, you only needed to pull one of those levers. You know, small guilds could compete with big guilds if everybody can only do one. You know, you can't like grind a million people grinding a bunch of crafting. But now we've got this other way for small guilds to compete just by hitting their small guild target. So why don't you leave the crafting in? I don't know.
Right.
All right, let's go in here. Talos wants to show us what's inside this temple door. What do you got for me, Talos?
Oh, I am too excited. Every time I open a new tomb, like watching a flower blossom. So many wonders.
All right, that's the way I feel every time a new patch drops.
These
Talos?
look like the catacombs. The rest of the temple must have been destroyed by the elements. The great and secret order of Naga Sadow's assassins, the Sadoween. This is where they came to die when their bloody work was done.
So much history. It almost seems wrong to
I'm
destroy
being
it.
real nice to him in all my
Please.
conversations.
I
So.
know the Ghost wants this all destroyed, but let me at least take some hollow recordings. To
You got it,
obliterate
buddy.
all this history, why? We'd be orphaning ourselves. Our culture needs the hand of the past to guide it.
But I need to go dark side, so hopefully I'm a little bit polite when I say that he can't take pictures.
The assassin's legacy must be destroyed. That includes hollow records.
That was mild
Fine.
enough.
Just tell me when it's over. I can't bear to watch.
That was mild enough. Then saying, "Be nice to Talos,
Yeah.
light side." That was. I mean, that was the least dark of any dark side choice I've probably ever seen, which was, it's practically a light side choice. No, this stuff is dangerous. We're gonna even need to destroy the hollow recordings. All right, so let's clean up this trash. I think we've got a few things we need to do in here where I think we need to destroy a few things in front of Talos and make him cry a little bit.
Zen in the chat room points out that remember that it only takes 100, maybe even fewer people on the forums to make a firestorm.
Yeah. Yes.
Even more reason why BioWare shouldn't just fold because of people being angry on the forums.
Right. Right. But they did. So then what's the deal?
Yeah.
Was it more people than we even could tell, for one, or for two? Yeah, I don't know. On the one hand, I know people are happy that they're listening to feedback, but they shouldn't have to.
Is that why they did it? They're like, oh, okay, let's introduce it this way, and then we can always roll it back and get credit for being. Listening.
There's the nefarious conspiracy theory, which was they knew it was the wrong move, and it's not part of the design, and they wanted to rile people up.
I have human nature.
And they were ready. How long did we wait? Did we wait 48 hours, and then we post the rollback post?
Not even.
Here's my rollback post. Is this looking good for 2 weeks from now? That's nefarious. That's the ways of the Sith. Okay. Maybe you're right, Seema. Maybe they're playing four-dimensional chess, and we're just not understanding it.
And I mean, as Redna said in the chat room, how many people even do Conquest? All the more reason why you shouldn't get a lot of bad press for it.
Why was I reading that wrong? Why did I say R3DN4? I haven't seen Redna in a while, and I forgot. I was like mental dyslexia or something. It was screwing me up. Hey, Redna, what's up? R3DN4. What the hell? Sorry, man.
But yeah, I mean, it's that in a way even makes it worse because.
Yeah.
But I know it's true because if you go out and play SWTOR and you're out on the planets and stuff and you listen to General, that people are not complaining about Conquest. They're talking about how soon can I get off this planet, or what's my favorite thing on this planet, or what's my favorite planet, or they're not complaining about Conquest. So I think it's a good point that there's a lot of people for whom Conquest doesn't even register.
Yeah.
But to me, that's all the reason why you shouldn't give yourself so much bad press over a system that isn't even
right
100% through the player base.
Right. Or, or if you if you knew it would be a journey, then just make a couple small changes. Like, just change the UI and nothing else. And then introduce the next change, and then introduce the next change, and slowly change it over time. Whatever. I don't know. But it seems that mistakes were made.
And you outlined your process where you're reading it and you're saying, okay, I can see how this could work and blah, blah, blah. Think how much of an asset you would have been had they told you up front what their goals actually were.
Maybe.
You wouldn't have to spend the first day and a half thinking about it and going through it and then being disappointed by the immediate change. You'd be like, last week we would have been saying, okay, here are the goals of it, and it might be a little bit rocky in the beginning, but we think it's going to work, or whatever.
Right. And yeah, I could just be referring back to the post that says, here's why all the crafting, mats are collapsed. Let's reiterate that point. But we don't have that, sadly. Okay. We have destroyed 8 little relics. Talos is sobbing here quietly in a corner. We're going to destroy the prime relic now and see what happens. It's a big statue. And of course I shoot lightning at it, because when you've got a hammer, everything looks like a nail.
That's the last of them.
My lord, that droid, didn't we already defeat it?
We did.
Excellent. Thank you, Sith, for your help.
It's a possessed droid.
Fascinating. How is this possible? It doesn't appear to be technological.
To see those pawns of Naga Sadow crushed, their graves defiled. Normally, I'd consider myself above revenge, but this pleases me.
Force Ghost in a droid.
Force Ghost from coast to coast in a droid. But yeah, I don't know how you possess a droid, but we had an agreement.
I hope you're planning to keep your end of the deal.
Yes, I could use the change of scenery.
The ghost. Never in a million years.
The Star Runner may be found in the belly of the mighty super dreadnought Star of Coruscant, in the graveyard of ships.
Ah, yes, the ship graveyard on Hoth.
I landed it there for safekeeping after I crushed its foolish captain. There, you will find me.
I know the place,
Sounds good.
but it's swarming with pirates. White Moor, I think they're called. Not exactly
Yep.
connoisseurs of the historical.
I have to go there.
I need that ghost's power to defeat Darth Thanaton.
I wait expectantly for your arrival.
So all quest lines, all missions on Hoth
One
lead
minute
you
it's
to the
walking
ship
around
graveyard.
good as new, and the next, oh, there's better equipment for analysis at the base near here. It's on the way to the ship graveyard, if you'll follow me.
I sure will, buddy.
Talos, he knows where everything is.
Yep. So yeah, as you play through Hoth, you always end up at the ship graveyard. It's sort of the farthest eastmost section of the map, and is a pretty cool place. Giant crashed dreadnoughts, half buried in the snow, inhabited by pirates looting the hulls and whatnot. But all of the classes end up going and doing something over there, so it's pretty cool. All right, so I think that wraps us up for this week. Definitely much more ranty than I had planned all week. I thought this was going to be a nice little, I was going to joke a little bit about the rage and then talk about the strategy and where I thought this was going to end up. But now I had to get a little, apparently I had to get a little more ragey even than I expected. But once you get rolling, it's tough to stop the rage train. So, and that's my secret. I'm always angry. So there's that too. Any final comments on on Ragecast 235, Yusima?
I like your comment about the rage train. I'm on the rage train. I know I'll get over it, but right now I just can't see myself. I'm just so like I said, I filled up the void with my own fear, which is that there's nobody running this ship.
It was a tough blow. So, now balls in your court, BioWare. You got the opportunity to win us back, and we can be won back. We certainly can. Isaac's is a good peace offering. I'm certainly gonna have fun with that. So Matt P there still is on my good side. But for now, I think we're gonna have to finish off this ragey podcast with EPC 235 getting kicked out the door of this rage train to broadcast this little bottle of rage to the entire SWTOR community. So with that, please keep up with us on Twitter. Maybe I'll do a little bit of rage posting there at Max the Gray and at AIESEMA. If you know any other cool people that should be playing Star Wars with us and sort of joining in our experiencing our rage firsthand, point them our way. Have them subscribe to us on YouTube and come see us on Twitch when we do it live. Usually Tuesdays, sometimes Thursdays. A lot of Thursdays lately. 10:30 p.m. Central.
Yeah, a lot of Thursdays.
And certainly come find us on Starforge or our guild website, aie-guild.org, and we will get you an AIE Guild invite, and you can come have fun with us and do Conquest once we figure it out and have fun on our mandatory fun nights. We would love to have you, and we will talk to you later.
Later, everyone.